Hi everyone, this is Elisa from Anaya's Toy Box Crochet and I'm here to tell you what I've been up to. Thank you all for coming. I so enjoy showing off my makes and I hope you enjoy watching them.
Hello.
That's my son.
Yo.
That's my daughter. I am not home alone. I don't get home alone time anymore. Everyone's here, so there will be background noises. You'll hopefully not too many voices, but you'll be hearing people moving around and showing off their fidget. Anyways, you can find me as Anaya's Toy Box on Instagram, Facebook, Etsy, and Ravelry. All links are linked below in the description box. So this week, what have I been up to? I have one FO. Just one FO. It's fine. I knew I would have less time to crochet, and since I was doing bigger projects, they weren't going to get finished. But I do have one FO, luckily, and this is it. This is the Lincoln Beanie.
What about your whips?
Can I finish this first?
No.
I have somebody who tells me how I'm supposed to do my videos. But I know I show off my FOs first and then I show off my whips. So I'm just going to continue showing you off this FO. So this is the Lincoln Beanie, and I didn't bring my iPad, so I got to stop the video. Okay, so I'm back. This is the Lincoln Beanie. It is a pattern by Jessica Lee Crochet, and it is available on Instagram, and I will, like anything else I talk about, if there is a pattern, I will link it down below. So I used line brand mandala ombre to make this, and I was very attracted. I actually bought this in a store, and I was attracted to this particular skein because it had this beautiful dark color, like a lot of it. But you know what that meant? It meant it had a lot of knots. There were 3 knots in the making of this hat. 3. I had, where I should have just weaved in 2 ends and that's it, I had a lot of weaving in to do for this hat because of all the knots. I did not enjoy the knots, but I do like the color. The color is beautiful. And here's the color it fades into. I'm not too fond. I mean, it's beautiful color still, but I love this rich blue much more than I do this light blue. But anyways, it's done. It does fit my head. I am not putting it on because I don't wear hats with the hijab because my hijab gets messed up whenever I take off the hat. But it does fit my head. It's a little bit on the snug side. I use the recommended hook size, which really I should know better by now. Don't use the recommended hook size. You crochet too tight. I should have used a
5 or 6.
Yeah, I used a 5 millimeter.
No, you should have used a 5.5 or 6.
I should have used either a 5.5 or a 6. He's right. It fits me. It's a bit snug, but if I had added because it's a 4-row repeat, so you have to add in the 4 rows. Can you please stop that? It's distracting. If you always add the 4, if I had added the 4 rows, it would make it too loose for my head, but it wouldn't fit my husband. I don't know. But whatever, I finished it. I do intend to take this portion of the pattern and turn it into a cowl. I have enough yarn. That's why I chose this yarn, because I had enough yarn to make a cowl out of it, so it's a set. I don't know who will be wearing it. It won't be me, because I don't wear hats. Why don't I wear hats? Because they're hard to take off when you're wearing a hijab, when you have something under it. I used to when I was in Montreal, though. All right, so my first whip that I'm going to show you, because we're on to our whips. You like it?
Yeah.
You have to fold it over like this, otherwise it looks weird. Fold it over halfway. There you go. Like it?
Yes.
Cool. My son's wearing it. Maybe it'll be his hat. Anyways, this is my second whip, and the only my first whip, and the only reason it is a whip, I just realized I didn't talk about these dolls there. You see them? Both of them are available for purchase on my Etsy store, and if you would like to make one of them, both of their patterns are available in both my Etsy and my Ravelry stores.
And also linked below.
They're both linked. Yes, my Etsy and Ravelry stores are linked below. Thank you for reminding me. Anyways, there goes my awkward self-promo. All right, here we are. This is my whips. Okay, so this is my first whip. It is a scrap basket, and I used all this blanket yarn here, and they were in my scrap. I have a vase. So what I do is I look at the vase, and when the vase is pretty much full, I know it's time for a scrap basket. But you see, the thing is, this may take up a lot of space. It takes up a lot of space in the vase, but it isn't enough. Like, the vase got full, I started making it, but I did not have enough scraps to finish it. I'm almost finished, and if I was able to finish like just this part, like if I had enough yarn, scrap yarn, just to finish this part, I would have said, okay, it's just going to be a shorter basket. But I don't like the chains being like this without anything on top of it. I want to at least have it look like this. So if I had had enough just to finish this part, I would have finished it, but I don't. And so I'm waiting on more scrap. I might end up using, right now I use one solid skein as the color that I want to have throughout the basket, so it has some sort of cohesiveness. And this is the skein I'm using, and I might actually, I just thought of it, I didn't think of it before, I might actually pull from both ends for this to finish up this basket, or I might get a scrap, I don't know. But anyways, that is whip number 1, my scrap basket. It's been sitting there forever. So I started a new project, and as if I didn't have enough whips, but I started a new project, and that is the shawl. This is, I need to look it up. And my iPad went to sleep. Yeah, I know, eh? This is the Oblique shawl. It is a paid for pattern from Etsy. Here it is. I love the way it's working out. Can you see the stitches? I mean, I think this is the perfect, it's a 1-row repeat, and I think it's perfect for a variegated yarn because it's got this beautiful texture to it, and I think it's more apparent. Maybe this is the right side. I don't know. I don't think there is a right side to it. It's more apparent in real life, I think, than in the camera, and I think these colors make it so nice. I love it. It's going slow because this is lace weight yarn, which is 0 weight yarn. This is from my Darn Good Yarn subscription, and I'm not going to promise that every month I'm going to use up the yarn right away, but I'm going to do my best not to collect the yarn too much. So obviously this is lace weight, so it's going to be around for a while, so I may not start whenever I get this month's one right away. But this is the lace weight yarn Witching Hour from Darn Good Yarn. It was in the October subscription. It is an absolutely gorgeous skein of yarn. Like, it came as a hank, and it was gorgeous in a hank, and this is what it looks caked up. Isn't it pretty? I really like it. I do find that I'm seeing more of the white than I would have liked to see, more of the green and the purple than the white, because like if you look at this, it reads mostly white with some green and purple, and I would have liked it to read green and purple with some white instead. But it's okay. It's turning out beautiful. I am loving it. I am working on it. It hasn't been getting most of my love, but I have been working on it. And I'm liking how it's turning out. You like that?
I'm stealing your yarn.
No, please don't. It's attached to the basket still. Okay. So I worked on that. I wish I could say I worked on the boy doll. I did not. I might have worked on it a little bit. I'm conflicted on whether to show it to you or not, because if I did work on it this week, I did very little on it. Actually, I'm not going to show it.
Bro.
I shouldn't have even mentioned it. Oh, I lost my clicker, but that's okay. I don't need it just yet. My next whip I'm going to show you is the hexagons that I've been working on. These are this is a project that I work exclusively when I am not home. Well, if I'm almost finished, I might finish it off at home, but most of it is worked on the bus if I am lucky enough to be able to sit on the bus or the train, or when I'm waiting for something.
Like in the library?
No, I don't wait in the library. I might be waiting for my daughter to show up after school, get out of school. I'll be working on it then. Things like that. So I have done, I'm not sure if I showed you any of the greens, but I was on the greens last time I showed it to you. So I've worked, if not all 3 of the greens, I worked 2 of the greens, 3 of the blues, and 1 of the yellows. I still have the yellow in my hook. I have not. I'm going to be so mad at myself. Future Lisa will be mad at me because I have not weaved in any ends, not a single one. I don't even take the needle with me. And so when I come home, if I have any completed, I just pick it up and put it into this bag, and that's that. And so I have 0 ends weaved in. So when I'm ready to attach it together, I will be so mad at myself. Does that mean I'm going to end up sewing up weaving in ends right now? Absolutely not. I will just have to deal with being mad at myself later on. All right, so the project that has been getting all my love this week is this. This is the Oblique Vest, and I will tell you as soon as my thing opens up who it's from, who designed it. It is by Anastasia Popova. Anastasia Popova. It is a pattern that I found a long time ago and I bought from Interweave. And isn't it so cool? I did make a mistake. I got a little confused at the beginning. It doesn't tell you when to change colors. There's like a little blurb that says you work 4 rows in the solid color and then you work 2 rows in the main color and 2 rows in the contrast color. So that's what I did. But I failed to notice when I started, because they have the instructions on one column on what to do, and then they have the specifics on another column. So basically it's a 4-row repeat and it explains the 4-row repeat. And then it says, okay, so on the side you work X amount of rows from here to here of the repeats to get to the first the front side. You work X amount of row to do the back, you work X amount of row to do the next side. And that's what I copied. But what I failed to see is it says at the beginning of the other portion, because I was looking at how to do the stitch, in the explanations on the sides, which I looked at and saw, okay, I have to work this amount of rows in this color, not in this color, this amount of rows for this side. And I just started working on it, making sure that I had 4 rows, and then I did the contrast color. But if I had looked properly, it says, when I started off on this, it says start with the contrast color, which I did not pay attention to. So the body of this looks a little differently because it's got this little spike that it's not supposed to have, but I like it. And I did mention last time, I'm not sure if I'm following the pattern right, but it is what it is. I'm not frogging it, and I'm not frogging it. It is almost finished. This will be finished today. What I am doing right now, where I am on, is doing the border around it. So this is what the border will look like when it's finished because, whoops, wrong side. This is what the border will look when it's finished. I have already started the last row of the border. So all I have left to do with this thing besides, okay, the only things I have left to do with this is finishing off this row right here that I'm already on, going all the way around with that row, and then I have to do an edging on the sleeves in single crochet. I need to weave in ends and sew up the buttons, and then I'm done. I am so close to finish. I wish I could have called this an FO, but I didn't get it done yesterday, so it is not an FO. It will be an FO next week, but it's an almost FO. Let me see if I could show you a little bit of what it looks like. It's not gonna, I am ridiculously close to the camera right now. This is so embarrassing. But anyways, this is what it's gonna look like. The button will be like probably here. And let's see if I stand up. It's gonna go like this. I am so happy that this is almost done. This is like the first sweater pattern I ever bought, and or wearable pattern I ever bought. And I bought the yarn for it. I didn't like the colors, so I never worked it up. And then I didn't like the main color, so I never worked it up. And then it just became this big thing in my head, like that looks so hard, that looks so hard. But seriously, it wasn't hard. I've only been working on it for a week compared to my last wearable that I made, which is not here.
It took a month.
It took over a month. It took over a month, and that was because of the stitch, the half double crochet herringbone stitch. That was a really slow stitch for me. I did speed up, but never to the point where I could have finished it faster like I did with this. I have less time to crochet now that I am working, and I still managed to make all of this. And I bought too much yarn. I bought way too much yarn. Do you want to know I bought 4 skeins of this color and 3 skeins of this. Now I knew I would probably finish in 2 skeins, but I bought the 3rd skein just in case, and that was the right decision. I did use up almost 2 skeins for this part. This one I bought 4, but I didn't take into account that the pattern was calling for a yarn that sold in a 100-gram ball, and this one is Premier Basics, which sells in a 200-gram ball. So the pattern said you need, I think it said you needed 4, I'm not sure, 100-gram balls of yarn, and I needed 400 grams, and I just bought 4 200-gram balls of yarn, so I have 2 that are not touched. I have decided all my sweaters are gonna, all my wearables, well, almost all my wearables, is gonna live in this bag, because I am totally getting Canadian crocheter vibes, and she always makes wearables. It's helping me, because look, I finished this. I showed it to you last week. I think I didn't put a stitch marker, but I think I was just beginning the one of the front section, so I was probably like up to here-ish. And it's finished. Well, almost finished. It'll be finished today. What were you gonna say?
I forgot.
He forgot. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to pause the video and take this off because I don't want to get so close to the camera again. That was scary. And then I'll come back because it's too hot to wear this because it's hot. All right, so my last whip I'm going to show you is not this, because I didn't work on that at all. I think it's this one. Yep, it is. So I worked on...
You have so many bags.
Yeah, I do, eh? I've been buying a few over the years. Okay, and winning some. So this is the Kaleidoscope Sweater. The only reason I'm comfortable making this is that there will be a tank top under this. This is being made for Anaya, my daughter. And I'm showing you the back. Lisa. Okay, so here it is. I didn't work much on this. As you can see, I think I was probably up to here. I really need to remember to put the stitch markers on. I was up to here last time I showed you, and I worked on it just a little bit, and the reason I didn't work on it much is because Hobbii is a good yarn company. I am using Hobbii Tencel Bamboo and Bamboo Fine, which I chose because it is the same weight as the pattern says, but the pattern was calling for the rainbow cotton. And I chose this because I have been collecting this colorway. So pretty much every time I've been buying from Hobbii, especially if there's a sale, I've been buying one of these. So I had 4 of them already. And so I thought, I'm going to use that, because what's the point of just buying it and leaving it and not knowing what to do with it? So I bought the contrast color, which is black. I bought 4 of those, and I was, after consulting with my daughter what color she wanted, which was black and gray, and I started making it. And I'm using a 4mm hook, and I got like the worst skein of yarn you can ever get in this grain. I don't want to even take it out because I'm going to get knots. Okay, so when I got the inside, I found that it doesn't... Hobbii usually has a little sticker to show... Oh gosh, did I touch that ball of yarn? Okay, Hobbii usually has a sticker to mark the inside. This skein of yarn does not. Like, this line of yarn does not have that sticker where you could just do the easy pull. So I went digging, and I found in this gray, the skein that I am using, the gray yarn. I went into it and I found it right away, except it wasn't right. It's not it. Yeah, you're showing the hat again?
It's a flying hat.
It's a flying hat. Cool. So it was not the center. Like, there is a piece of cut yarn that isn't even tied up together inside this ball of yarn. And even though I was annoyed with the knots of that flying hat, I appreciate the knots after doing this so much more, because the yarn, when you're pulling on it, isn't getting stuck on anything because it's a knot and it's tied up together. It not being tied up and being in the skein keeps on knotting up as I'm pulling on, like tangling up as I'm pulling on it, and causing yarn barf over and over from the same skein. Right now I have yarn barf in here, which is why I'm not working on it too much. And honestly, I hope I won't be starting another project until I finish some of these, like at least 2, because I know I'm going to finish the sweater today, but the vest today, but at least another one. I won't start another project. But seriously, this one, because of the skein of yarn I'm using, I don't see this one getting too much love this week, especially when I come home from work. So my day goes like this. My work is perfect for me because it is, ooh, what's this? Okay.
It ends up
Because my kids, my husband drops off my kids at school.
It ends at 2,
Yeah.
and my school ends at like 2:40.
2:30. So I have just enough time, maybe sometimes I'm a little late, to go pick this one up. And then I get on a bus and go pick up my daughter. If my husband is working from home, he's staying with his dad. If he's not working from home, which some days of the week he's not working from home, and if my husband is working from home, he picks him up. I come home, I have a snack because there's no lunch break at work because they assume after work you're going to have lunch. So I grab a snack. I eat something here and then I get on the bus. I usually have about 10 minutes at home. I come, say hello to
More flying
my
hat.
boys, eat a little bit, and then I'm off to pick up my daughter. My daughter's school is not super close by, so it takes a while. She gets off school at 3:30.
More flying hat.
Thank you. By the time I leave here around 2:55 to get to her school. Sometimes I'm there super early, but it just depends on, because I have to change buses. It depends on whether the second bus comes along right away or not. So sometimes I'm super early, which helps me get the hexies done. And sometimes I get there just in time for her to come up. So that's why I consistently leave at 2:55. Can I please finish my thought before you interrupt me? What is it?
And once while she was at training for her work, we arrived at her school at 3:17.
Okay, so once he got really good connection and was there early.
So we went to East End Avenue.
Okay, we don't give specifics about where we live and where our schools are, okay? All right, so he had a little adventure because they got there early because they had a nice connection. I don't always get a nice connection, so I constantly leave at 2:55, and sometimes I have a ton of time over there where I'm crocheting, and sometimes I don't. But anyways, by the time we get back, it's about 4:15-ish. I'm usually exhausted. I mean, my work isn't exhausting. Like, dealing with preschoolers are exhausting, period. I'm sure all of you know that if you are a parent. Dealing with special needs preschoolers is a little bit more, but really most of their behavioral stuff is preschool. Not because they're special needs, it's just because they're children. But there are some stuff that are like, you can't totally make them understand where you're coming from, that you might have with a toddler that wasn't special needs. But anyways, it's exhausting work. So with all that running, I am exhausted at 4. I normally force myself to start cooking at 4. I might sit down for a little bit, but mostly I force myself to start cooking early.
Cooking at 4 when you have.
Okay, can I please finish? Thank you. Can I please finish my thought? Why do I do that? As I was interrupted, as I was about to tell you, making my video very long, is because I know that if I sit down and I start crocheting, it's going to be really hard for me to get up again. So I normally start doing at least the prep work for cooking when I get home. So by the time I sit down and start crocheting, which is somewhat like when the stove is still on, but it doesn't need constant attention, I'm exhausted. And I don't have time to figure out this and deal with yarn barf and whatever. I'm not there. I am not going to deal with this piece where the yarn keeps on spitting out on me because Hobie did not tie the ends in. I can't do it. It's just too much for me. And so I'm reaching for something that isn't going to just irritate me when I'm already exhausted. And that was why that one didn't get a lot of love. yes, a long story made longer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But anyways, I hope you enjoyed my video. I know I didn't have much to show you, but I can't promise I'll have more later. I do what I can do. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to hear more from me, please subscribe. Bye.
Or find tab.